good evening. The world champion Michael van Gerwen begins the defence of his Unibet Masters title tonight here at Arena MK. Last night we saw some of his main challengers lay down a marker.
Start to the Masters. Absolutely magnificent from Gary Anderson. Brilliant. Beautiful.
The party's over, we can stay.
But very impressive quartet of Raymond van Barneveld, Peter Wright, Gary Anderson, who looked particularly in the zone last night, and Phil Taylor won through to tomorrow's quarter-finals. Phil told us before his match that this will be his final 12 months on the PDC Tour. Well, this is the lineup for this evening, and we start with the Masters debutant, Mensur Suljovic, up against Jelle Klaasen. After that, James Wade faces Robert Thornton. Simon Whitlock takes on the now two-time world champion, Michael van Gerwen. Watch out for an extended interview with MVG just before that match. And then we end the evening with Adrian Lewis versus Kim Huybrechts. Look who we've got. Raymond van Barneveld. Great to see you. Five-time world champion, don't you know? Of course you do. Great to see you. Congratulations yesterday. You got our session off to a fly with a very good victory against Chizzy. You carried your form on from the Worlds.
Always good to winning your first match, of course, here on stage. The form is still there. I had 3 weeks off in Holland. I never went anywhere, not on a holiday or something, but tried to play a couple of competition games with my mates. I was well focused yesterday.
You're quite popular in here tonight.
Yeah, well, I still don't know why, but
yeah, I'm trying to work it out.
They're fantastic.
Well. Yeah. And you're back in Holland, managing to relax. Managed to see your grandson Mason, who you said before massively inspires you to keep on going. He
brings me so much joy, and he gives me energy. He even said a couple of words darts, you know. So I gave him a magnetic board, and every Thursday we look after him, you know, and then we start practice already with them magnetic darts, you know, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, we got those at home, my 5 and 2 year old, practicing their maths with them. They're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, so start to speak in his first words now, like grandpa or daddy, and it's so nice he gives me so much joy and energy, and maybe hopefully he turn out to be a fantastic dart player, we can say.
Oh, he's got a decent chance, hasn't he? I mean, you said that you turned 50 this year. Yep. You're still obviously in fantastic form, averaging 109, as we know, at the Worlds. We'll come on to that in a minute. But what motivates you to keep on going into, you've said 5 or 6 years still you'll have at the top, you reckon?
Yeah, I still love the game, you know. I love darts since I was a boy from 17 years of age, you know. My biggest dream was to perform and winning and lifting trophies here on stage. I never knew that it's going to be so huge like it is now in the PDC and everywhere we come, you know, people screaming your name or shouting your name. It's fantastic. And, you know, now I think I got 5, 6, 7 years left. I don't know. I'm not going to think about it now, you know, I'm still enjoying. But it would be fine if you can lift once in a while a trophy. There's one or two now in the PDC simply too good, and it's hard to beat them. It's Michael and Gary. Playing Gary tomorrow, so tough match.
Yeah, well, he was in fabulous form last night against Benito van der Paas, but you mentioned there about Michael van Gerwen, the phenomenal form. In the World Championship semi-final, for goodness sake, you averaged 109, 68% on the checkout, and you were 4 sets short. Is it just a case of in those kind of matches there's nothing you can do, or how do you beat him?
That's what I tried to tell people at home. They said, Ray, you play phenomenal darts, you must be happy, you must be pleased with your game. And I said, well, since when we start worrying about averages, you know? At the end, you want to have the 6 on your side and winning, you know? The money is fantastic in the game, but at the end, the money runs out one day, you know? But a 6th title, never. So if you become 6 times world champion, everyone will say after your career, he was a 6 times world champion. Now, a 5-time world champion, which is still fantastic. But life depends, you know? Every time you try to focus, you put hard work in, and yeah, it would be nice to live once in a while a trophy and winning tournaments, of course.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Michael, the man to beat, he won 26 trophies in a 12-month period, won £1.7 million last year. Deep breaths on that one.
The only thing he didn't win was the World Cup. And he was playing with me there. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for that.
Do you know what? I wasn't even going to mention that. I wasn't even going to go there. But you know him so much better than most. We watch him on the television. We see him here. You know, we chat to him. He's a nice enough chap. But you know him. You know what makes him tick as a player. Tell us a little bit more about him.
Sorry?
Tell us what makes him tick as a player and as a person.
Michael wants to win all and everything. You know, a couple of years, if he didn't win and I beat him at the match play, he had tears in his eyes. You know, he was thinking. You could see this is going to be a fantastic dart player. I'm a bit like the same, you know. If I lose, I go to my room and no telephone or whatever. But everything he plays in, even competition nights or exhibition nights, he simply don't want to lose. And his form is phenomenal. Even when I practice with him every single week, sometimes he hits a 180 with his own dart. He says, "Ray, give me your darts." And it happens a couple of times when he straight on he hit my 3 darts in a triple 20 as well. So 6 darts in a triple 20. I don't know how he does it, but it must feel, it must be great to be the best player in the world at the moment. Yeah.
At the moment, of course, you and Phil Taylor have had fabulous battles over the years, which we've all thoroughly enjoyed. But he said now this can be his last 12 months on the PDC circuit. What do you make of the career that he's had? How would you describe it?
I remember an interview with Dave Clark a couple of years ago, and he said, "Ray, how good is this young man?" You know, I says, "Well, Dave, he's just warming up." And he looked at me like, "Whoa, what is this?" And he showed, you know, and I don't know how, but he's in his rhythm. He's full of confidence. If you're full of confidence and you don't think about losing, but his C game or D game is still good enough to beat a lot of us.
And Phil Taylor's game is still pretty good as well, of course. He has a lot more to offer in his final year. Tell us about that rivalry that you've had with him over the years.
It was a nightmare for me. No, Phil is still the best player in the world ever. You know, 16 world titles, the amount of winning world match plays and Grand Prix, amazing. We discussed it for many years, you know, over the last 3-4 years now. He said, "Ray, it's becoming too much for me, you know, the travelling, the stress. You know, winning is fantastic, but losing is killing, you know." And many times you lose as well, and it hurts. So you go back, you try to say what is going wrong, you know, you try to do it better next time, and then you lose again. But it's simply, maybe he has enough, you know. He has, after his darts, he has a career in doing exhibitions. So we're still going to hear from him, maybe in the commentary box or on the darts exhibition circuit. I don't know, but I don't say he will quit with full darts after this year.
Yeah, we'll still see plenty of him, of course. And what about darts in your home country of the Netherlands? It is growing, it is massive, as we know. We saw MVG's homecoming at his hometown of Vlijmen and at PSV Eindhoven. How big is it over there?
When I won my first world title in 1998, it looks like Schiphol Airport, looks like the Beatles are arriving there. So many people there and photographers and all. It was simply amazing. I was shocked by then. Maybe now it's a bit different, but Michael still had an amazing reception, you know, in his hometown, Vlijmen. He was there. Everyone was there. He went to PSV Eindhoven, you know, and he was showing the cup to all the spectators. Here, look, and that's unbelievable, you know. Darts and football. There's so many football players who was watching the darts as well. Famous football players texting me, texting him, and they're all watching. They're all watching the game, and they love it.
Yeah, and you played a huge part in that, of course, in making the sport so huge over there. But what about in this tournament here? You play Gary Anderson tomorrow night. He was in fabulous form yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
What can we look forward to then?
Well, what can you do? You know, Gary always has a phenomenal throw. For the last 3-4 years, he's hard to beat. You know, 2 world titles, another final. So we'll see. The only thing my former manager always used to say to me, Raymond, you always have your chances, right? But you have to get them. If you don't get them, you know, and they outscore you, you have to finish like from 100 to 160 or 170. You have to take them out, otherwise they're going to bury you, you know, sorry. But at the end, yeah, I don't know. It's always hard to say. You can lose 10 times, 20 times to someone, but then the 11th time or the 21st time you beat him again. And you have to believe in that. If you don't, then it's hard to beat your opponent.
Keep believing, Barney, or we might well see you lift that trophy tomorrow night. Thanks so much for joining us.
Cheers.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Cheers, and we'll see you against Gary. Take care for now. Well, now it's time for the rest of us to get the first round matches underway and head down to the stage where the players are ready. Let's join John McDonald.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome. You're joining us live on ITV4 from the arena, MK. Yes, a very warm welcome to the Unibet Masters. That's brought to you by the Professional Darts Corporation. A very special welcome to the millions of viewers joining us around the world. It's now time to meet the players. Ladies and gentlemen from the Netherlands, a winner of 3 PDC ranking events and the former Lakeside champion. Ladies and gentlemen, time to meet the Cobra, Jelle Klaasen! And now, ladies and gentlemen, time to meet the world number 8, the European Championship finalist, making his Masters debut. Ladies and gentlemen, the gentle Mensur Suljovic.